Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I just read Night of Grey by James Swallow, and it's not very good. Now, the story of this book is pretty simple, as it wraps up the arc of Nathaniel Garrow, and as the cover of the book already gives away, this means he goes face to face with Mortarion. So, will he manage to defeat Mortarion? Well, for that, you don't have to read the book, because this takes place before Warhawk, and thus you already know what will happen. Yeah, that's the first weird thing about this novel. It's about 3 novels late. It mentions that the Saturnine Gambit has just happened and thus is set after the 4th book, but the Legio Mortis still has to attack, and thus this book is set before Mortis. Similarly, Mortarion is not yet at the Lionsgate spaceport, and thus it takes place before Warhawk. However, it cannot take place before Mortis and Warhawk, because Euphrates Keeler is no longer in the Imperial Palace. In this book, she is all of a sudden on the front lines. Yet at the start of Mortis, she is being held prisoner under the Imperial Palace. So unless Keeler all of a sudden can perform mitosis, Swallow didn't bother to check in with the other writers on this. What can I say? The continuity in this book is an absolute joke. There's also the fact that Garrow and his fellow death guard Galler act as if they haven't seen each other since the Cullings at Istvan, yet these two have spent almost the entirety of the heresy together. The timeline is scuffed, characters don't seem like themselves, and the power levels too are all over the place. It's just a logistical nightmare. The plot isn't much better, however. As you might have guessed from the cover, the majority of this book is a bolter porno about the fight between Garrow and Mortarion. Now, I wouldn't have minded that too much, since the entire arc of Garrow has been building up to this confrontation. However, what makes it so shitty is that the entire confrontation is an exact copy of the confrontation between Jagatai and Mortarion from Warhawk. Seriously, from the way they fight, to the conversations, to the final conclusion, the entire fight scene in this book is a cheap knockoff from the one in Warhawk. The other 40 pages then have some dialogue, which too feels extremely lackluster. First of all, like I said, the characters don't feel like themselves. Keeler is neither the woman of faith we see in Saturnine, nor is she the Imperial War Saint we see in Warhawk. Instead, she's this weak, pathetic wizard who can cast all sorts of Adeptus Sororitas magic, but who has zero backbone or belief in what she's doing. Garrow all of a sudden has become a cheap version of Loken, who is all about longing to be part of his legion again. Same for Galler, who apparently has not spoken a word to the guy he fought the entire heresy with, as they act like complete strangers now. But more importantly, it feels extremely pretentious. Many characters don't talk in a normal English fashion as we see in the other heresy books. Instead, they speak this weird medieval English, where everything has to be constantly addressed with titles, names, and flair. Garrow even refers to Mortarion as his lord. Like, dude, I think the respect should have gone out of the window the moment Morty decided to virus bomb half the Legion. And then finally there's the ending, which is so utterly over the top that it's almost funny. I won't spoiler it, but it's by far the most cliche dumb thing you could possibly imagine. So all in all, I'm giving this one 1 out of 5 Keeler clones. This book is an absolute mess in terms of continuity, logic, and characters. The dialogue is clunky and out of place, and the other 60 pages are completely stolen, and poorly at that, from Chris Wright's Warhawk. It's just altogether really shitty, a bit sad that such a famous character ends on such a big low. But like Swallow says in the afterword, tragedy is what the siege is all about. Anyways, that's all I got for you today. Have a nice evening, the book's linked down below, and don't forget your nightly prayers to Nagash.